Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Shared News from Home. We have lots of Bachelor tea and updates to dive into. As always, I'm your host, Zachary Reality, and I am joined today by Avery Grooms and Hibba Berry. Avery, how are you doing? How has everything been? It's been a minute since we've been here on live all together. So what's going on, and are you ready to dish on the tea?
Yes, it's been forever. I feel like this tea time is long overdue. I was on vacation in Cabo and then we had a week off, so I am eager to spill the tea today, finally again.
Hibba, how about you?
Yeah, of course. Same as well. I mean, it's all been, just kind of overflowing at the rim. So I'm definitely excited to dissect everything.
Yes, well, there has always been so much going on in Bachelor Nation. Bachelor Nation never sleeps. So let's kick things off with our least favorite Bachelor Nation couple, Clare and Dale, who have been posting a lot of Instagram pictures together these past few months and recently revealed to Us Weekly that they are planning on getting married. A source says they're engaged but still working and building a solid relationship. They've discussed future plans but aren't necessarily wedding planning. Just to refresh everyone's memory, Clare was the Bachelorette who left her own show just 10 days into filming to run away and get engaged to Dale, only to break up shortly after the season aired. Dale said some not so kind things about Clare to the paparazzi. While he was accused of being fame hungry, Clare was also labeled as desperate and wanting to tie down a man to have babies. Shortly after their breakup, they were spotted together in Florida in March and have pretty much been strong since. They've kind of been posting a little bit together for the past few months. Avery, do we think that this couple will actually make it down the aisle?
After breaking up and then getting back together the first time, I was surprised by it, and I'm even more surprised by the fact that they've made it this far. So, since they've come this far, I'm gonna say they're probably gonna make it down the aisle as well. I'm still a little confused on this relationship as a whole, just based off on Claire's age and her wanting to have babies so quickly. Also, Dale just mentioned how he's in no rush to get married, but they are for sure engaged now. So I just wonder how they're going to navigate through this relationship as it goes on.
Them walking down the aisle seems to be, the $1 million question. And I agree. I didn't see them lasting this long, like ever at all. So this is quite shocking. But I mean, again, it might lead to them really actually making it and making it work and having that longevity. I always doubted them, but of course, we're here to be proven wrong. We, of course, wish love, happiness, and marriage to all these Bachelor contestants, these Bachelor people. But I mean, as far as them wanting children and wanting to start a family, I feel like they've always been on two separate pages. And I think during her season, it was all about kind of lust. And that's hence why she, left in 10 freaking days, which is like crazy to think about because she had so many other guys that she could have picked from. But it seemed like she just always had her blinders on for Dale. But it seems like when the camera stopped rolling, reality set in, and it seemed like they were on a lot of different pages for different subjects, especially when it came to starting a family and things like that. But again, we don't know the conversations they have had till now. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But I personally, I don't think they'll make it down the aisle. I think maybe in a couple more months they might break up. Maybe they might go into 2022, just the beginning, and then maybe call it quits for sure. But I really don't see it working, especially because they just have such different timelines and are just on different wavelengths, it seems like.
Yeah, their relationship seems so icky to me, and it always has. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, obviously, I want people to be happy. Like, of course, like if they're happy together, then they are in love, then like great for them. But it still just seems very off to me. But then at the same time, I just don't think that they would be together at this point, a year after the show, if they weren't actually truly happy and truly in love. And they have been traveling together. They've been to Florida. They've been to Hawaii. It seems like they have a lot of other friends that they've been hanging out with. And they really are posting together and seem genuinely happy. There really is nothing to prove anymore. So if they're happy, they're happy. So it's hard to kind of judge and question if it's like sincere at this point because they've proved it with the distance. And as far as where the relationship stands today, the source adds that they are still working on some issues they have to overcome, but it's not likely they will make it known. They're more private when it comes to their issues. The good thing is that they're happy together and enjoying this time as an engaged couple. They love each other very much and care for each other. Clare still has her home in Sacramento and Dale is still living in New York, but the couple has managed to make things work with lots of trips and flights to see each other. They also have plans to travel together all summer long. Avery, they're engaged. Do you think that they still have the ring from The Bachelor? And do you think there's any chance that ABC would give them a TV wedding? And what would that even look like?
I for sure think Claire definitely held on to the ring, you know, just for high hopes and the sake that they would get back together, in which they did. And we keep talking about how it's interesting to see them come this far and how they don't seem that compatible. But then again, their season aired basically a year ago and they're still together. So I'm just shocked by this. I kind of want ABC to show their wedding, and I also don't. I rather have them give it to someone like, you know, Caitlyn and Jason, just because of the way things ended up, and I'm still unsure about them, even though they proved us wrong for a year now. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what it will take just to convince me that they're like 100%, but I'm still not buying it. I don't know why, but we'll have to see. I think it would be interesting to see them get married, but then even more disappointing if they were to break up within the next year after that.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking too. I just don't see them making it down the aisle. It's just, it doesn't seem realistic. It seems like they're still figuring it out, even with their living situations, even with Claire and her mother's situation and wanting babies and starting a family. Like, it just seems so messy, and it just seems like they both want different things still to this day. I mean, yeah, we can see, you know, the highlights on social media, them on these trips, but again, we don't know the conversations that they're having behind closed doors. Again, I agree with you, Avery, as well. I feel like out of any other couple, I would rather see a wedding of someone else besides Claire and Dale, because I don't even think they'll make it that far. But we'll just really have to see, because it just doesn't seem like, again, it's gonna be endgame, really, to be honest. But I mean, we love a mess, so we'll just have to watch it unfold.
Yes, well, I actually disagree with you guys. I want to see this ABC wedding because, like you said, Hiba, it would be a mess. I mean, Claire would be crying the entire day. She would be such a bridezilla. Let me paint this picture for you. Claire would be screaming at her wedding planner. She'd be screaming at Dale. She'd be screaming at all of her bridesmaids. Half of her bridesmaids would probably drop out of the wedding. It would be a complete mess. It would be the most amazing television ever. And then maybe she'll even be a runaway bride. Like, it would be an amazing ABC special. This is just me picturing this in my head. So I would be here for this ABC wedding, and I do agree with both of you. I don't think they're actually going to get married. I think that they're just trying to be together for now, and I don't see it longevity. But if it is for them, great. Happy for you guys. Live your best lives, and we need to move on, because if we talk about them anymore, we will drive ourselves crazy. So I do want to remind everyone to subscribe to our Shared News YouTube channel. Like this video. Remember, we are live all of the time, so you never miss a video. So ring the bell, notify, do all of the things. But now we have to talk about Bachelor in Paradise, because Wells Adams just is dishing on what is to come on this upcoming season that airs August 16th. We all know that Wells is going to be playing a major role on Bachelor in Paradise. This is his 5th go-around on the show. He will be the master of rose ceremonies this season. Wells is saying that there will be many twists and turns this season. We will get romance, drama, and some surprises that we have never had on the show before. Wells says that the show is going to start off with a lot of comedy and drama the first couple of weeks, and then later on in the season, there will be real, true, authentic love. Wells also says that there is a lot of contestants that have most likely been cooped up in the house all year because of COVID. So when they got to Paradise, they were ready to set free. I mean, Wells is really like making this seem like it's going to be an insane season. We know we missed out on Paradise last year. They are also dropping the cast for Bachelor in Paradise tomorrow. Avery, I know there's been a lot of spoilers online, but we're going to kind of avoid them. This is a no spoiler zone. What do you think we can expect on Bachelor in Paradise this season?
I feel like this season more than ever has been the most like highly anticipated, highly hyped up season we've had. So I'm just so eager to see this cast list to go out, to see everyone's headshots. I know for a while now we've kind of like talked about who might be going on, but it's been very unofficial, and tomorrow's when we get the official one. So I'm expecting a lot of twists and turns and a couple engagements at the end of this, just because, you know, the bar is set very high, because I think we can anticipate a lot of well-known names and people that we're wanting to see actually be there. But in terms of who might end up together, that's very up in the air, because based off of what I've heard on who's going, I don't really see anyone being that much of a match. That's why it's going to be more interesting and surprising to see who ends up together.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to finally, like you said, get that official word. And also, it will be interesting to see who will make it from Katie's season. Obviously, we'll get the eliminated guys that possibly might make it onto Paradise. But I'm curious to see, which ones might be on there officially because, again, we've had, the speculation and no official word yet, but hopefully, yes, by tomorrow we'll finally know because they've been so tight-lipped and hush-hush. So I'm just happy that we'll get something to look forward to after Katie's season is slowly wrapping up as well.
Yeah, so tomorrow we're going to get the official cast list, but I'm just going to tell you guys some of the people that are most likely going to be there. This is no spoilers. We're not going to say who ends up together, but these are some of the people that are probably going to be there from what we've heard, okay? So we got Chelsea, we've got Abigail, we got both of Serena's from Matt James's season, we got Kelsey from Peter's season, Queen Victoria will be there, Ivan will be there, Kenny will be there, as well as Mari from Matt James's season. Grocery Store Joe is allegedly going to be there. Becca Koof is allegedly going to be there. McKenna from Peter's season is allegedly going to be there, as well as Kendall, which might make things awkward because she was recently with Grocery Store Joe. And Tia Booth is allegedly going to be there. Now, these are just a lot of alleged names. There is no confirmation. We're going to get it tomorrow. But Avery, out of all of those names, what are your kind of thoughts on how this is going to go down?
Well, I also heard Thomas might be there. So if he's there, we have, Noah, Thomas, Victoria all in the same place, which already sounds very messy, but that's what we watch this for. That's what we're here for. So I'm already more intrigued. I'm just interested to see who Noah and mainly Thomas ends up with because we saw how he handled things on Katie's season. And she even said in Nick Vial's podcast, the next girl he ends up with better watch out, and those are very strong words. So I'm just want to see if he puts on that persona again in Paradise, which I think he will. But I hope Victoria goes far just because I want to kind of see her have a rebound, just because it was really bad on Matt James's season and it could either go that way or in a total opposite direction. So I'm just want to see how everyone develops again on Paradise.
It's gonna get juicy. Hiba, out of all of those names, who are you most likely looking forward to seeing?
I definitely want Ivan to get with Serena. I know Serena, of course, left Matt James's season, but I feel like there's kind of a connection there. I feel like I could maybe see some potential there, especially when it comes to genuine couples that I think might last, not the messy ones, the messy relationships like Victoria might get herself involved with. But I think those two might be someone to look out for. But I mean, that list sounds solid. Definitely a lot of people intermingling from previous seasons, a little bit more of the older seasons as well and the current ones. So again, it's going to be really interesting to just see all those personalities just mixed together, especially post-COVID, because I mean, people got some aggression to get out, whatever kind it is. So it's gonna be fun to watch.
Oh, it's all going down. Everyone, mark your calendars. August 16th. It's going to be a very, very juicy season. I cannot wait to watch it with you guys and we can talk about it. It's going to be so much fun. But I do want to remind everyone to like this video and leave a comment as we will be finishing up the live with a Q&A towards the end of the video. And we have to talk about this season of The Bachelorette because Blake is back on the show. So Tayshia introduced it to the guys that he was joining the house with all of the right intentions. And Katie was really all about it. Katie even mentioned that they have DM'd before the show, before she began filming, and the guys were obviously not super happy about Blake joining the show, specifically Greg, who saw Blake as a threat. Greg told a couple of the guys in the house that Blake is probably Katie's type. We all know that Greg has been the front runner this season, and Greg has told the rest of the guys in the house that he might be a little jealous of Blake, because when Blake arrived, he got the first one-on-one date of the week. Blake and Katie spent the day horseback riding and making out in a bunch of hay, kind of romantic. And sparks were flying at the end of the night because they shared a very intimate kiss. They danced. Some country singers sang to them, I believe. And Katie even said that Blake could be the guy at the end of this for her. He got the rose, and it seems like she is just all about him. Avery, do you think that she might be more about Blake than she is about Greg? You know, I just mentioned that Greg has been the front runner of the season.
You know, it might be a little too soon to say, but if I'm going to compare Greg to anyone, it will be Blake. You could just tell by the way she looks at the both of them that she's definitely about it. And the thing that Greg and Blake have in common is they both have the same energy around Katie, in the sense that they seem like they already knew each other, which is always great to have when you meet someone new, because it's like instant chemistry. And I don't really see Katie having to that level, that type of chemistry with anyone else. I would say the closest to it would be maybe Andrew S., but that's still a totally different vibe. So I understand why Greg might be worried, because he knows he's a front runner and he knows Katie very well, probably more than most of the guys there. So he knows that she's definitely into Blake, but I think Blake can see that too. And soon, if not already, the guys will also see that. So it's going to cause a lot of drama, but it's hard to say who is at the top right now. But I'm going to say it's a tie between Blake and Greg right now.
Oh, yeah. But Hiba, what do you think really went down in the DMs between Katie and Blake? Because she did kind of reveal on the show that they talked a little bit before. They obviously talked enough for him to have the confidence and the courage to join the middle of the season. I mean, that's kind of bold of him.
Yeah, and I believe what Katie said as far as, them just exchanging very, vague words about how they both were, or how Katie was on Matt James' season. I don't think it was anything like deep or flirtatious, or him asking her out or anything like that. I think it was pretty, again, like vague. And even Katie said she didn't even expect Blake to be the one that hit up Tayshia and expressed interest in joining the show. So it did seem like she was genuinely taken aback and surprised to see him, but also, kind of connected the dots, and it kind of made sense that it would be Blake. But as far as him being compared to Greg, I think it's interesting that Greg kind of foreshadowed that Blake would kind of inch up to be the front runner. And I got to say, on the date, there was a lot more chemistry with Blake. I mean, he seemed to be a little bit more easygoing, more fun. And whereas with Greg, when Katie said that he kind of looks like he's a lost puppy or a sad puppy all the time, I don't know what kind of like backhanded compliment that was, but that was such an interesting observation that she made. But it just seems like Blake, is maybe the one to watch now, and I just didn't expect that. But I mean, it did seem like they got along together really well. Their personalities meshed well. So Greg seems to have some competition and might need to play catch up now and kind of step up his game too.
I mean, Greg is threatened, Blake and Katie have a really strong connection. I actually think that they may have, I don't want to say sexted, but I definitely think they flirted in the DMs a little bit before he came. Okay. I mean, Katie has the hots for Blake. She is all about him. And it's nice to see Tayshia in Blake's corner. I guess that has to like make sense for the viewer, but like Tayshia is like really rallying around. Have you guys noticed that? Tayshia's like, Blake is here for the right reasons. He has all the right intentions. Like she's really just trying to like tell the guys that he's here for the right reason. And I think we can kind of all agree that it might come down to Blake and Greg at the end. They seem to be the two most popular right now on the show with Katie. So time will tell. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that at the end of today's video. But I do want to talk a little bit about Katie, or should I say the real Katie Thurston, because she has no time for the haters. Katie put out a TikTok video explaining that her page used to be called Vent with Katie, where she would vent about things going on in her life, unfiltered and unedited. And since her time on the Bachelor franchise, she's had to change her image because she is now held under a microscope. We have a little look at this clip she posted on her TikTok.
Welcome to a channel that was once called Vent with Katie and is now called The Katie Thurston. Why? Because I've been on a television show, not once, but twice. And in those last, 12 months of my life, I have been completely under a microscope. I have been told what I should and should not do and what I can and cannot say. And I'm done. I'm done filtering myself. You think I swear too much? Go f*** yourself. You think I'm too raunchy? Don't follow me.
I love it. The music at the end makes it so dramatic. It's so insane. So Katie, she's tired of all these naysayers and bloggers talking about her, saying she swears too much or she talks about sex too much. The video is like a full minute. We just showed you guys a short clip. So Katie goes on to say that before the show, she had a following and a community where she was able to just be herself, and she only had people following her that liked her specific content. So she was kind of like an influencer, and she talks a lot about sex. Now she has opened herself up to a whole new audience, basically the whole world, mainly the country, and it's really changed up her social channels. Katie is done trying to please everyone. She is just going to be real, open, and honest, and herself. Avery, what do you think about this? Because she really only had her specific audience, following her. She had a lot of followers before the show. Now she's really opened up the horizons. How do you think that this is affecting her content?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I have to say good for her. Like she mentioned, she started that TikTok account to fully be herself, and she had a ton of supporters who supported that. But now, as we know, she's the Bachelorette, so she is just watched so carefully, and everyone has something to say about her. And the things that people mainly do say about her is like issues with that she cusses too much, she's too open about everything, she's too blunt, whatever. And that's just like ridiculous because, that's life. People can say whatever they want. And when you're in this position, you either could choose to live a life that's not yours or just fully live your true, authentic life and embrace it and let everyone see that. And I think that's the path, obviously, she's choosing to go down, which more power to her, more respect to her, because so many people do get caught up in these situations and they lose themselves and they're completely fake. They're not who they actually are online or in front of a camera. And Katie's the total opposite from that. And I think so many influencers and just other reality stars could learn from that because she's setting a great example by fighting it and just standing up for herself and just overall being her true self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hippo, what do you think?
Avery hit the nail on the head. And it's so hard because with these bachelorette contestants, they're locked into a contract and they have to, be brand friendly and, be prim and proper and say the right things because they're still represented by ABC and the franchise and everything. So it took a lot of guts for her, to still stand up for who she is and stand down and, continue to be her authentic self. And that takes a lot of guts because there's money on the line, there's contracts on the line, there's your reputation on the line. So that's huge for her to, still continue to want to pursue and say what she wants to say. And again, like you mentioned, Avery, people do get lost in this journey, when the followers go up, when the likes go up, when there's more attraction, there's more paparazzi, and there's more interest in your social life and your personal life and everything. So people can get lost and it's really scary, but she seems like, she has a good head on her shoulders. And that's why I say she's more relatable than I feel like the other leads that we've had because she's so real. She's not, again, that prim proper, say the right things, don't raise your voice, don't cuss, don't say things out of line. And she did all of that in like that 20-second clip. So she's already, ahead of the game and, marching to her own beat, to her own steps. So I always give her respect for that. And that's why she's kind of been like my favorite lead like ever. So more power to her.
Yeah. I love Katie. I think she's so awesome, and I love how engaging she is on social media. She's tweeting memes, she's tweeting jokes, she kind of talks about the guys, she interacts with the fans like we've never seen a lead do before. And I don't know if it's because there's been some changes in the franchise that she's now allowed to kind of push the boundaries a little bit because we've never seen a lead be so engaging and interactive. So I don't know if there's something going on behind the scenes or if it's like a combination of because that's just who Katie is. But either way, I'm here for it. The transparency is so attractive and I just think Katie is so awesome. So we just got to support her. I mean, she's so funny and real. I love her TikTok and I hope that she can kind of get back to, and I hope she can get back to posting more of her real life. Obviously she has to not say as much things right now because she is on the show, it's playing out, but I'm excited to see what she does with her social media career after the show because I think we'll really get all of Katie. So I'm looking forward to that. So let us know what you guys think. I do want to remind you guys we have a Q&A at the end of today's live show, but we too need to discuss what is going on next week because we're halfway through the season. There was a crazy mid-season trailer that we got at the end of this week's episode. Multiple meltdowns from Katie. Greg was in tears. Michael A. had a FaceTime with his son. We're going to talk about next week, but Avery, what did you think about the mid-season trailer? Because that looked crazy.
Oh yeah, it was insane and it was kind of dark, you know. It looks like things are going to get really bad. I
Yeah.
heard the word nightmare. I saw a lot of tears. It looked scary. So, I think we can expect a lot of twists and turns and maybe some people showing up. It's what it looked like. A lot of tears, a lot of conflict, and I think a lot of surprises mainly. That's where this all comes from, but for the most part, I feel like this has been a really good, solid season. You know, we had Thomas, we had Carl, but that was easy fluff to get rid of. But now it looks like it's going to get deep and intense, and they're going to be dealing with real relationship problems. So I'm excited to see, but I'm also a little nervous because everyone, literally everyone, looked upset at a point in the trailer. So I'm just interested to see about what and how this is all going to unravel.
Oh, yeah. And Hiba, who do you think is going to show up? Remember that scene in the mid-season trailer where some guy might be knocking on the door? What is going on?
Yeah, so like Avery mentioned, it seemed like a lot of people might leave early. There's people that might come back. I feel like in that trailer we saw a shot of everyone crying at one point or walking away from the camera or saying, "Oh, I can't do this anymore. I need to go home." So definitely it's going to be a roller coaster. And you know, these producers, they just know how to pull you in. They know exactly how to, keep you on your toes and keep you glued and wanting to watch the rest of the season and how it unfolds. But yes, the one thing that I did take away, the main thing that I took away was a shot of Katie saying like, "What are you doing here?" Or, Tasha even saying like, "What made you want to come back?" Something along those lines. Loosely, of course, I'm saying this, but yes, someone does come back. And yes, this shot specifically, it did cross my mind, and Zachary, we were talking about this off camera, that it could have been Matt James maybe wanting to come by and give her advice, but I don't think she would have that type of reaction, like shocked and kind of like turned off of like why this person is here. But this kind of body frame does maybe look like a Thomas situation, or I was hoping Michael A, because it seemed like, him FaceTiming with his son, he is going to leave early and maybe will come back later. But with this shot, again, I don't know if that's Michael A's body, but again, these things are shot out of context or edited out of context too. So this could have been a whole different conversation. This could have been a producer for all we know. But I don't know, man. It's so messy, but I'm just going to say it's Thomas, just seeing the body shape. So that's who I'm gonna go with. But do you guys have any predictions of who it might be? I really don't know.
Avery, what do you think?
Okay, well, if Thomas was to come back, that would be just so ridiculous. Like, he literally got kicked off. It was a whole scene. Like, that would just be awful. And it's like, that's the last person I want to see show up. It could be anyone else. Now that we're looking at this image, just staring at it, it does kind of look like Matt James's body, but why would he come? I know he would maybe come to also give Katie some advice, but I also feel like that's the last thing he wants to be doing right now. So it's really hard to say, because if we are just basing it off bodies, I feel like Thomas was maybe one of the buffest guys there, and this guy does look pretty fit
and tall,
but
what about, it could be Aaron?
I don't know. And we hear the words like "come back," so maybe this person was already there and had to have left and came back either now or later. So I don't know. It's hard to say. It looks like it's just going to be full of surprises.
Yeah, I'm thinking it might be Aaron. I mean, we don't know how the rest of the season plays out. Hiba, you mentioned it's probably out of context, as most of these mid-season trailers are. They're trying to throw us off, but it looks very explosive, and somebody is definitely asking for a second chance. So we're going to have to stay tuned. But next week's episode is also going to be a lot of fun, because there is a surprise visit from some drag queens for a group date. 2 of the reigning champs from RuPaul's Drag Race will be there to crown a king. And there is also going to be a double date with Caitlyn and Jason for whoever Katie chooses to pick for a one-on-one. And Katie might actually get a little flustered after seeing how strong Caitlyn and Jason's connection is, because she might not be feeling that yet. But I think Katie is going to be okay, because you can't compare that relationship to what you're going through, because you haven't even chose one guy yet, and you've also only been dating these guys for a short amount of time. Caitlyn and Jason have been together for a couple years. They actually just got engaged a couple months ago. Super happy for them. But next week, we're going to really get down to the nitty-gritty. There is only 12 guys left. We did the rundown about who are the 12 guys. We know that there's Aaron, there's Connor, there's Greg, there's Trey. Avery, what's going to happen next week? Who do you think is going to go home? How do you think that this drag queen group date is going to go?
I'm so excited for the drag queen group date. You know, I love the performative dates. I love when they have to get up on stage or do something where it's like incorporates putting on a show, because I just love seeing that side of the guys.
Embarrassing.
But in terms of, yes, exactly. Embarrassing, funny, silly. We love it. But in terms of who's going to go home, there's still a couple guys who I just feel like we know aren't going to be here for much longer. And that is Brendan, James, and either Aaron or Trey are going to go home. I feel like one of them has to stay just because they both kind of bring some sort of drama. And if I would have to pick, it would be Trey would stay and Aaron would go home. But definitely James and Brendan, we're going to have to be saying goodbye to.
Yeah. Hiba, how do you think the double date's going to go with Caitlin and Jason? And then tell me who you think's going to go home. Who's on the chopping block?
Yeah, like you said, Katie's still in the process of finding one person out of, 12 men right now. So I think when she goes on that date, she's going to see how Jason and Caitlin kind of interact and kind of, put in her mind, like, this is the type of relationship that I want. These are like the characteristics, the chemistry, the conversation that I will want eventually with one of these guys. So I think it's kind of like a good reminder to her of like what a healthy relationship looks like, and should kind of, the things that she should strive for, the qualities that she should strive for in a relationship. But as far as the guys that I think that should go home, definitely Brendan. I'm still surprised he's made it this far, especially because he has barely had
Literally.
any camera time. He just hangs out and is around, in the background of camera shots and stuff like that. And also I think Justin too, because I haven't really seen much, again, camera time with him. It's just, shots of him making facial expressions, raising his eyebrows and just reacting. So maybe they might keep him around for comedic effect. But as far as his relationship or I don't know, chemistry with Katie, I feel like that's lacking as well. And I think also Mike, he's also just hanging around. Again, we haven't really explored much of a relationship with him and Katie, just him saying he's attracted to her, he's here for her. So, I mean, we're here halfway and we need to start getting deep. And I feel like we haven't gotten deep with those guys, and we have a little bit more with the others. So unless, they get more camera time in this next episode, I feel like those three might be in trouble.
See, I think Justin is like a dark horse. I think he's going to like sneak up and have a little bit more of a storyline and possibly make it. I mean, Justin is my top 4 pick. I don't know why, because I just don't know who would be 4th.
Same.
Because we know that Greg, Blake, and Andrew S. are probably top 3, what it seems like.
Yeah.
And then I just feel like Justin is going to find his way there because like you said, Avery, Brendan needs to go. Like, he needs to go far away. Like, why is he
dead
still
weight?
Here? And Aaron and Trey are so extra. Like, there's so much drama. Like, they're driving me insane because they're just always like trying to hop on like whoever's bandwagon, whoever gets attention.
Yeah.
Hunter is a sweet guy. He might make it a couple more weeks. I don't know. I want to hear from you guys. We're going to open it up for a Q&A. So let us know what you guys think. Leave your comments, leave your questions, leave your predictions. We're going to be getting to a bunch of questions about the Bachelorette this season, Bachelor in Paradise, Clare and Dale, anything going on in Bachelor Nation. Feel free to have at it. Avery, what else? Like, who else do you think could make it to top 4 if Justin doesn't make it?
Also, we see Justin in the mid-season trailer quite a bit. So I feel like we haven't gotten to his story yet or his one-on-one, but I definitely feel like we're going to see it. Because also, when we do get the snippets of her and him talking, she kind of has those eyes looking at him too. Like, you could tell she's very much interested in him. He's just going to be maybe more of an underdog, I'm going to say. But right now, we just still have those guys who are like blatantly just there and are bringing nothing. I'm sorry, they seem nice, but James, Brendan, they gotta go. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see what goes down. I mean, this season's so good. I can't believe we're already halfway done. I think we have like 4 or 5 episodes left, and then we get Paradise. So I'm looking forward to the rest of this season, as we all are. And we have a comment from Jennifer who says BIP is going to be mostly a mess with the rotating hosts. Yeah, it might be a little bit more of a mess with the host than the contestants. But either way, at least we have Wells Adams there to provide some structure. He's going to be the master of rose ceremonies, which is a title I think they just made up for him, which is kind of an amazing job promotion. I mentioned earlier in today's live that this is his 5th season on Paradise. He did 4 I think he was on the show once, and then he did 3 seasons bartending, and now he's the master of rose ceremonies. Like, what a job promotion. Like, I think he's getting some money in his pocket, you know? And he also did talk about to Us Weekly that Sarah Hyland is probably not going to be there. So we know that David, Titus, and Lance Bass and Little John are going to be there. Avery, which host are you most looking forward to seeing out of the 4 celebrity guest hosts?
I mean, it's such a random group and mix
So
of people.
random.
I'm going to have to just go with David Spade because I know he's a loyal Bachelor Nation fan. He's very with it and also a comedian. And I was just really excited to hear his name. But then we heard so many other names after his. I don't even know what to think anymore. But I'm going to have to say David. And I have to say, Wills has one of the best gigs. Like, every summer he's just got to be the bartender, and now he's like the master of rose ceremonies and just gets to hang in paradise. Like, I want that job.
For sure. Hibba, what is Jessica saying?
Jessica says, do you guys think Hunter or James will be the villain? I mean, last week's episode, it seemed like Hunter, was being painted the picture of being the villain, and the guys kind of grouping up against him and calling him out, especially because he had the rose, and he, pulled Katie aside for such a long moment when other guys were trying to fight for the rose when they didn't have it. So, I mean, I do kind of respect Hunter because, he is there focusing on Katie, again, to play devil's advocate because you do have to fight for her. But I also think, you already have the rose, you're secured, like give other guys a chance as well. Because, think of it if the roles were reversed, like he would be pissed. So I think, he is just a little bit more aggressive than he needs to be because there's a way to, to be classy and respectful and give other people a chance as well and an opportunity. But I get, he just seems like this guy that's out to just get this prize and, this goal that he has of just, winning Katie over. But again, there's a way to do it. And it just seems like he went about it the nasty, shady way. And I think that, of course, it definitely rubs people the wrong way. I think James is a little bit more on the background.
Yeah, Hunter has a little bit more of a connection with Katie. We got to see him share his baby pictures with her, because he has 2 kids. Yeah. I think James was just desperate because he knew he was probably going home. I mean, he doesn't have that super strong of a connection with Katie. I mean, remember when he came in the box and was in the box for 4 hours? He should have got out of the box. He wasted his own time by sitting in that box all night. Martin is saying, what an interesting discussion. Yeah, I'm honestly having so much fun because we haven't been on here in a week or so. So it's good to catch up with you guys and hear what you think about this season because there's just so much going on. And somebody who I cannot with right now is Trey. I don't think that he had the right to call Hunter the new Thomas. That was just such a stretch. Trey is just causing these little flames. Avery, what do you think of Trey?
It was too soon. It was too soon to call someone the new Thomas. I get where he was going with that, but Hunter did a couple minor things. Thomas was a true villain. So yeah, given he just said that, yeah, Trey loves the drama and he loves being involved in it. But I kind of think it's funny. I don't know. I kind of like the people who stir the pot. It's Trey and Aaron. I don't even know if they're there for Katie. They're there for the drama. They're there to do a he said, she said type deal. And yeah, I wonder if they'll be besties by the end of this.
If they're not already besties. Wait, Hibba, who do you think was worse, Carl or Thomas?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think they were both bad in their own ways. It seemed like Thomas was more creepy and psychotic and manipulative and would just talk in your ear and just say again, all the right things. And he would kind of, when he was confronted, he would be like, oh, me? What? Why? He would just always be just crazy, calculative. But as far as Carl, I respect Carl a little bit more because he was more blunt, out and about. He was more upfront, so I could read Carl better. But I think Thomas is actually a little bit worse because you just don't know what's going on in his head, and it's just a little bit more creepy, and he's just hard to read overall.
Yeah, and Taryn says, I love how Katie's cutting the BS right away Carl needed to go. Making things up to manipulate her was unacceptable. So Avery, who do you think was worse then, Carl or Thomas? And are we done with villains, or do you think that someone else is going to emerge towards the end of the season?
You know, I think Carl was just really bored and wanted to start drama, and he did. But Thomas seems a little more malicious, and I don't know, the fact that, you know, like you said, Hiba, like people came for him, and Carl like made it known that he was a villain. But people would question Thomas about things, and he would just go on these tangents and almost say too much and kind of dig himself more in a hole. And it did seem a little psychotic because of like, he almost got kind of aggressive during his conversation with Katie, basically one of their last conversations, and he kind of like interrupted her, and he was like, no, this is how I feel about you. And it's like, how do you even feel this strongly about her? Like, I didn't believe a word he said, but it was just the fact of the way he said it is just very concerning and psychotic. So therefore, Thomas is definitely the villain. Carl just wanted to be the villain. He was just bored. And it was a little more innocent, but also bizarre.
Yeah, and like I think we mentioned this earlier, Thomas is probably going to be on Bachelor in Paradise, which we will definitely find out tomorrow because we know that the cast is going to drop. So I don't even know how Thomas is going to fit on Paradise. He is definitely no one's favorite on here, but maybe he'll get a redemption story. You know, we're all here for a good redemption story. So time will tell. You know, this season is just getting good, and I just cannot wait for the cast to drop tomorrow. I'm so excited for the rest of the season of The Bachelorette. Hiba, round things up. What are you really looking forward to in Bachelor Nation coming this week? Because there's a lot more news coming.
Oh yeah, we're just getting started. It's just the tip of the iceberg. I was really surprised with all the tears that I saw in the trailer, honestly. Like, it just seemed like there were so many breakdowns. Again, a lot of moments of people walking away from the camera. We saw definitely Greg and Katie on multiple occasions actually walking away or, you know, slamming her door and things like that. So it's just going to be interesting to, of course, know the context behind those moments. And also, I feel like last week when there was that whole moment of eliminating Thomas and we got that shot of the rose on the ground, did you guys ever see that shot in the episode? Because I don't think I did. Did we see that shot?
Think
Do you guys remember?
Maybe not yet. I know that they gave that final rose to Blake, the one that everyone was like, where did that rose go?
Oh, okay.
But
Because I was like, there's a rose on the ground. Like, was there like a huge blowout or like did something happen? And I never remembered ever seeing that moment
not
air. But
yet.
maybe not yet. So maybe that's just something also that we'll have to look forward to. Maybe that will have to do with the tears and that correlation. So yes, it's just gonna be a mess, and I'm ready.
Yeah, Avery, what are you looking forward to with Bachelor Nation this week? Paradise, Bachelorette, what is your thoughts?
Everything. I'm so excited for the official Paradise list to drop, as I mentioned a million times. But I'm also still interested in the whole discussion about Greg being there for the right reasons, because we still haven't gotten our answers. Like, what I see from him, you know, I don't dislike him, but it's still in the back of my mind. Like, does he have bad intent? Is something going to happen with him? So I'm interested to hearing more of his story on the show and seeing how that develops. And I wonder if maybe all these tears have to do with him, or he's going to be involved in some type of drama. And then I'm also just interested in learning about Justin more, just because we kept getting those stills of his face and I thought they were hilarious. So I just want to see a little more of his personality, because I feel like they do have a connection. We just haven't seen it yet. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yes, well, I am obsessed with Greg. I'm Team Greg, but I do think it's been all peaches and roses too much. So I definitely think something is going to go down later on in the season. And obviously, you guys know I am the biggest Paradise fan. I probably won't sleep tonight, so we will definitely be back tomorrow to dish on all things Bachelor Nation, and that is everything we have to share with you guys for now. As always, we want to hear what your thoughts are. Even if you missed the live, you can still comment down below. Tell us what you think of this season of The Bachelorette. Who are you most looking forward to seeing in Paradise? And don't forget to follow us on our socials right down below. You guys can follow us, say hello, subscribe, and ring the bell, because we'll be back with more Bachelor news as updates. As always, I'm your host, Zachary Reality, and today I was joined by Avery Grooms and Hiba Berry. And thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.